Welcome to day 7 of our 18-day confidence challenge, and we are all about finding joy in this segment. So I wanted to share with you something I kind of gave you a clue in on yesterday as I talked about laundry and how surely laundry doesn't bring anybody joy. It's the concept of principles and practices. The principle of having clean clothes for my kids, that brings me joy. The practice of rotating laundry and collecting it and putting it in the wash and then drying it and then folding it and then returning it back to the children's rooms, not so much, doesn't bring me joy. So what I ended up having to do is tweak the practices that I do in the laundry to make sure that the outcome was all lined up, that I had the joy in the principle and the joy in the practice as well. So I have little signs in my laundry room that kind of make me laugh about having to do laundry yourself, or if I'm too lazy, I just restart the dryer. And I have this cute little shelf with this little bird feeder that has my Tide Pods in it and just things that bring me joy. I also rearrange my system, so that could bring me a little bit more joy too. The principles and practice concept is one that we don't often think about. Sometimes we feel like a failure at some things when really we're just failing maybe at the practice and not the actual principle. So for example, if you think about the principle of physical health, a lot of people value good physical health. And there's so many practices to get there. There's the practice of speed walking, walking in the mall with friends, hiking, cycling, spinning, yoga, hot yoga, let's see what else, Zumba. Did you know jazzercise is still around? Oh gosh, I love like good old-fashioned aerobics, right? There's even yoga with goats. Did you know this? I actually truly have a friend who's taught, yoga on paddle boards. I mean, there's so many different ways to get to the principle of a good, healthy physical body. And you get to choose your own practices. So when you see a girl like nailing it with boot camp and you're like, man, I want to nail it too. I want to have good physical health too. And you join boot camp and then after a few days you're like, this sucks rocks. I don't like this at all. It's not fun. Now, most workouts are hard, but there's usually a payoff where you're like, that was hard and I'm so glad I did it. It was awesome. If you don't find that after your workout, if you're not excited to do the next one, then chances are maybe you've chosen the wrong practice to get to that principle of good physical health. Maybe you need to try hot yoga or yoga with goats or spinning or whatever that is. Choose a different flavor, a different variety to get to the same results. It's like making dinner. I really don't like having for dinner like, I ask my family, what do you want? And they're like, I don't know, or I don't care. You know how many times we eat, I don't know, or I don't care? I still don't know the recipe, but one of these days, maybe we'll find it. So I don't really love the principle or the practice of making dinner myself, serving it to my family, and then, guessing whether or not they're gonna like it. I do like the principle of gathering together as a family for dinner. So our practices might look a little bit different. Maybe for me, it looks like hiring out somebody to bring us nutritious meals every day. I think I might need to discover that practice to see if it brings me joy. I'm thinking it might. In the meantime, I also love the fact that one of my sons likes to cook. So the practice of everybody at the table together deciding what we're going to eat for that week, and then each person having the opportunity to make that meal as I've gathered the necessary items from the grocery store, and then everyone cleans up. That is a practice I can get on board with. I want you to examine the different practices you do in your life, the ones that maybe don't bring joy, and see if there's another practice that you could do to get to the same principle or the same concept. Now, this might be a little out of the ordinary because sometimes you think, well, how many principles and practices are there? But there is with the way that you manage and keep your home, the way you exercise, what you eat, how you interact with your friends. Maybe you value quality time with your friends, but you just are finding you don't have enough time. Maybe it looks like instead of driving across town to meet them at the coffee shop, maybe you do a little FaceTime so that you can see their eyeballs, but you're cutting down on the hour commute. There are different ways to reach the things that we value. So let's discover if maybe there's another practice that can get us to that principle. Now, I want to tell you this little story. It was actually interesting. I ended up, some of you got this little vinyl sticker that says confidence on it, and the I is actually a purple crayon. So it's purple crayon confidence. I like mind puzzles. I think that's kind of fun. So I actually hired out somebody to do this, and they had no idea the title of my book or my challenge or anything. I just sent them the file and quickly had them produce them. I picked them up from the person, and when I got home, I noticed that the crayon in this was actually gray. I thought, oh my goodness, I cannot believe that's showing up as gray. I mean, it was purple, but it was light enough that it looked like gray. I'm like, I can't have a gray crayon confidence. That's not going to work for me. And so my sister is like, why don't you just get a Sharpie and color in the crayon? I'm like, I'm going to have to because I cannot have a gray crayon. And so we got the Sharpie out. I may or may not have suckered one of my children's friends to color all of them. Thanks, Griffin. Anyhow, we got the purple in this purple crayon confidence. And I thought, you know what? That is so fitting. Sometimes in life we have things in our world that aren't that purple crayon. And we can either choose, maybe it no longer has a part in our world, or maybe we need to find a way to tweak it so that it can become our purple crayon. I had a client once who we were going through these concepts, and she was deciding like that she didn't love her living room furniture. She didn't love it. She wished that she was in a spot where she could buy the perfect couch set of her dreams. So the one she had didn't bring joy. Now, she wasn't in a spot at the moment where she could do that. And so I challenged her to see if she could find joy somehow, so that every time she walked by the couch, it wasn't like, oh, I hate that couch, right? So as she discovered, when she focused on it, she realized that even though she didn't love the couch set, she loved that the sun came through the window and hit the couch on the top just right. And her favorite cat would lay there in the afternoons and take a nap. And every time her or her children walked by, they were able to give the cat a little bit of love. She changed her crayon from gray to purple until she's able to have it be completely what she wants. We might have activities, maybe it's our job, maybe it's where we live, maybe it's what we live in. Maybe it doesn't feel like a purple crayon to us, but I know that we're creative enough that we can change it to make it our purple crayon until we're able to select completely into something that's our purple crayon. So that has to do with our principles and practices. Take a look at how you work out, look at how you serve. You know, when I went to go to my son's kindergarten class, I did not like being stuck out in the hallway grading papers. I didn't mind grading papers, I just didn't want to be out in the hallway. So as long as the teacher let me come into the classroom and grade papers so I could see what was going on in the classroom, I could hear what verbiage she was using, I could see which kids were being a little naughty and the ones that were always the one that answered the question first. That's what I liked. And so I would tweak that. I made sure that when I volunteered in the classroom, I was pretty clear that I wanted to be in the class, but I would grade papers or do whatever. And of course I would go and make the occasional copy, but I wanted to be able to be in the classroom. So if the way you serve isn't bringing you joy, fine, there's so many ways. Go and serve with animals if you don't like people. Or if you love children or old people or people who are struggling, find that particular practice to get to that principle, and you'll find that your life is starting to expand and fill with joy. So I want to remind you to do today's challenge and to drop in today's step C in the comments below. Keep all our comments together, the report for the challenge. And I just thank you so much for engaging in the group, encouraging one another, commenting on each other's posts, because it really does build a community of confidence. And I think that's really helpful as we're strengthening that confidence muscle. And just remember that if you want a life full of purple crayons or purple Sharpies, as it may be, that you need to choose joy.